Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 3 of college picks. I wasn't able to do picks last week. I got tied up with a lot of stuff. There weren't really that many entertaining games last week, if I remember correctly. I mean, the big game was Texas and Michigan, and Texas blew them out. It wasn't even close. The big story, though, from last week was Notre Dame getting beat by Northern Illinois. That was an embarrassing loss. Illinois upset Kansas. That was a big deal. Tennessee absolutely put a whooping on NC State 51-10. Oregon got another close win. That's basically all that was of note. Everyone else that was supposed to win pretty much won. But we got some good games this week for week 3. Let's go in and make some picks. First, Arizona at Kansas State. That is tonight, Friday night. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Kansas State. I think they're a good team. They got a good QB. Arizona barely beat Northern Arizona. They're probably looking ahead, but I'm gonna take Kansas State. Florida State and Memphis. I want to see what the spread for this one is because Florida State's coming off 2 embarrassing losses to Boston College and Georgia Tech, and they are off a bye week. The spread has Florida State 6.5. Ooh. I don't know. Memphis is a team that a lot of people are starting to think could be a group of 5 contender for that last playoff spot. I think I'm going to go with them. I'm going to take Memphis. I mean, Florida State, they looked really bad in those first couple games. Georgia Tech, they ranked Georgia Tech, and then Georgia Tech immediately went out and lost to Syracuse. I don't know. I think Memphis has a lot more to play for. I'm going to take them. This is where college game day is going. LSU and South Carolina. I think I'm going to take LSU. I feel like South Carolina's going to be, they're going to walk into a really hyped up environment. That crowd's going to be rocking, but it's a noon kickoff. This is a game LSU absolutely has to win. I think they're going to come locked in, and I'm going to take the Tigers to win. Oklahoma State at Tulsa. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. They won a double overtime game against Arkansas last week. Tulsa, home game, rivalry game. I mean, Tulsa, Oklahoma, maybe they come out with a lot of intensity. Definitely their biggest game of the year. I think Oklahoma State will be too much, however. Alabama, Wisconsin. Now, this is a matchup that people have been talking about forever. They're like, when will a team like Alabama play a team up north or something? Wisconsin, I don't think they're that great. They're going to have a monstrous home field advantage. Camp Randall is going to be absolutely bumping. But if I'm a betting man, I think I'm going to take the Tide. I want to see what the spread is for this game. I'm looking down on my phone. Let's see what we have in terms of a spread. Alabama 16 and a half. I'm going to take the Tide. Missouri and Boston College. Missouri all the way up to 6 in the rankings. So a lot of teams ahead of them either lost or put up lackluster performances. They're riding hot, man. Boston College, though, they're ranked. They're coming off that win against Florida State. They look pretty good doing so. I think Missouri's legitimate this year, though. They got some studs on their team. They're going to contend in the SEC, and I don't think that's something that a lot of people thought was going to happen with Texas and Oklahoma coming, that Missouri would be one of these teams contending in the ACC, but I'm going to take them. Florida, Texas A&M. Honestly, this game is going to decide whose season is over because both these teams have not looked good at all. Florida got absolutely thrashed by Miami. Texas A&M lost that game to Notre Dame, who we saw lose to Northern Illinois. Both these teams are honestly on life support going into their first SEC game. Oh man, I don't really like either one of these teams. I don't think either one is that great. I'm going to take Florida because the game's at home. And DJ Lagway at least looked pretty good against Samford or whatever. I don't know. I'm going to take Florida just because they're at home. Ball State and Miami. I'm going to take Miami, but hey, Ball State, maybe another MAC school can knock off a top 10 team. And I got a lot of friends that go to Ball State. I know they're going to be anticipating that game, but I think Miami should win. Nevada, Minnesota. I'm going to take Minnesota. Tulane, Oklahoma. Tulane almost beat Kansas State at home. That was a terrific game. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to watch that one. That game was a really, really good game. Tulane couldn't pull it out, though, at home. Now they got to go at Oklahoma, who Had a struggle win against Houston, but I think they're going to bounce back and they should get this win. Oregon State, and Washington State. I'm so glad that these matchups are still being played. I wish they were played on rivalry week, but I'm going to take Washington and Oregon. I love Oregon State and Washington State. I really hope that they get their programs back like to a competitive level. Also, the Pac-12 is apparently adding like Colorado State and Fresno State. I think Boise State too. That they announced in 2026 they're adding teams. So I guess Washington State and Oregon State are gonna have to basically ride out these next 2 years as an independent, pretty much, and then they'll get some teams in their conference. But I think Oregon and Washington are gonna be too much in both those games. Notre Dame and Purdue. I'm actually going to a tailgate for this game. I have a friend that goes to Purdue and a friend that goes to Notre Dame. They're brother and sister. They're hosting a massive tailgate like with their whole family. So I'm going to be at the tailgate for this game. I'm not going to the actual game because I really don't care about either one of these teams. Honestly, as an Indiana fan, these are probably my two least favorite teams in college football. Man, as far as who I think's going to win, okay. Notre Dame, I looked, they're favored by 9.5. But they're coming off that really bad loss, and they got to go on the road. Now, Purdue is not good. They're ranked near the bottom, if not last in the Big Ten. But they're coming off of a bye week, and that crowd they'll get up for that game. Purdue has as much crap as I give them. They have a good fan base, and they'll show out for this game. It'll be loud in there. And they're coming off the bye. They get it at home, too. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this one. CBS primetime. I feel like Notre Dame's going to have to lock in and get this win. I mean, their defense showed out on the road against A&M. And if they can win at A&M, Purdue, less talented, I think Notre Dame can win it. And they're going to have to. I mean, they got to win out if they want to make the playoff. And even if they do, I don't think they should make it. We'll see. Utah at Utah State. Utah State, that's another team that'll definitely show up for that game, but I think Utah's going to be too strong. I think they'll get the win. Virginia Tech, Old Dominion. I remember Virginia Tech actually lost to Old Dominion one year, and Old Dominion gets the game at home? Give me an upset. Give me the Monarchs. Even though they're 0-2, I think they get that one. I got to go click off a bunch of these games so I can actually pick the last 9 games, so... Sorry, it only lets me pick 15 games. I don't know why this does that, but... It should be enough. All right. Ole Miss at Wake Forest. I think Ole Miss is way too strong this year. They are going to be, honestly, the SEC, it's going to be a tight race to get those top 2 spots. I mean, it's going to be between Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Bama, Tennessee, Missouri. Those 6. All 6 of those teams were in the top 7. Only outliers, Ohio State. Those teams are good, man. I don't know which one of those 6 is going to get the 2 spots, but Ole Miss, I think, will have as good a chance as any. They have a for-real team this year. Watch out for them. I think they're going to put a beating on Wake Forest. Georgia at Kentucky. I think Georgia wins. I think it's close. Kentucky got embarrassed by South Carolina at home this past week. I think you could tell they were looking ahead to Georgia. So I think they put all their prep into Georgia. They looked over South Carolina, but I think they're going to come out ready at home for Georgia. I don't think they win. I think they keep it within 4. I think they keep it within 2 touchdowns. UCF TCU. Give me TCU. Colorado State. Colorado State gets the game at home. I know everybody watched that game last year. Chippy, intense game. Colorado State putting out a lot of hits on Colorado. Colorado won it in double overtime. Colorado State, I bet you, has been waiting for this game ever since last year. And Colorado hasn't looked good. They got ran off the field by Nebraska. They lost that game. They won that game they should have lost against North Dakota State. I'm telling you, I think Colorado State wins. I think they're getting the game at home. They're going to be ready. They're going to be, I think they win. I'm not even kidding. Tickets at $142. I'm telling you, that game's sold out. I think they're going to win it. Indiana and UCLA. Now, this is the game that I've been waiting for the most. It's going to be on NBC primetime. UCLA's first game in the Big Ten, first Big Ten conference game. On the road, they have the Hoosiers favored by 3.5. The line opened at 2.5. It got moved up to 3. Now it's 3.5. Indiana, they beat Western Illinois 77-3. I understand they haven't won a game in 2 years, but 77-3, 77-3. They beat FIU 31-7. FIU put up 56 points on Central Michigan. This is clearly a team that's looked ready to play. They look completely different under Curt Cignetti. UCLA had a struggle game at Hawaii week 1. They won 16-13, but they had a bye this past week. An interesting thing to note for UCLA, their next 3 games after this game, at LSU, home against Oregon, at Penn State. That is something I think people need to watch. I mean, they could be looking ahead. I don't know. I know a lot of Hoosier fans are thinking of traveling to the Rose Bowl. I think they have what it takes. Give me IU, and I'll tell you something right now. After this game, if should they win this game, their next 3 games: Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern. And then they play Nebraska. We could potentially see a 6-0 Indiana facing off against a 6-0 Nebraska. I'm telling you, Indiana's looked good. I don't want to overreact yet, but I think if they win this game, it could mean huge things coming up for the Hoosiers. I think Tennessee beats Kent State. I think I'm going to take Virginia over Maryland. Maryland has not looked good. Wyoming against BYU. Now, Wyoming is a team that they will pack the house for games at home, especially against a big-time opponent like BYU. But, I mean, BYU's looked good so far. They won their first 2 games. Wyoming's 0-2. Who did they lose to? They lost to Idaho, they lost to Idaho by 4 and Arizona State by 41. I don't think Wyoming has what it takes this year. They're probably in a down year. I'm going to take BYU. San Diego State and Cal. Hey, Cal's coming off a win against Auburn. I'm going to take Cal. And New Mexico State, Fresno State. I'm going to take Fresno State. It makes me put a tiebreaker score in each of them. Indiana, UCLA. I'm going to say the Hoosiers win 28-21. Oh, it's got to be a total. 28-21, so 49 points. Save those, even though it's not going towards anything. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you whenever the next video is. I'm thinking of doing like a contenders pretenders type video, like a who's for real, who's not. I'm gonna wait to obviously the results of all these games, but if you guys enjoyed, I'll see you next time.